Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us on Joy Asoyin Live this evening. It's wonderful to know you're, just as you always do, right there to watch us and listen to us talk about several issues that's bordering around our national security, our economy, and so on. Well, today we'll start with talking about very important issues that has been on the burner. I mean, a lot of Nigerians have been reacting to several issues that's going on in the country, talking about the anti-corruption fight, to the fact that there was an airline that had an excursion in the runway that could have gone south. That's the Dana airline that a lot of people are also talking about, and that's because that particular airline had been criticized some time ago. There's so much to discuss. The EFCC has been after the former governor of Kogi State. How is that going? Why do we see this, what seems like a serious media campaign in support of the ex-governor? A lot have found that politically motivated. Well, after this segment where we look at the front pages or stories that made front page earlier today and stories that are still very rife in the mouth of Nigerians, we'll go to another segment where we'll be discussing Edu Venture. What is the concept of Edu Venture? How can you too be educated and venture into business well equipped? That's a lot that we'll be discussing on today's edition. So we'll go for a short break. When we return, we'll roll out all the stories that I told you about and then the Edu Venture segment. We'll be right back.
While wrapping up the day, unwind with the reminiscence of the day's news from home and abroad with Kaftan TV 7 p.m. News.
Good to have you join us on Kaftan News at 7.
Nigerians are living in up to 5%. Our young people, we broadcast the Harmony Symphony.
It's good to have you join us on Kaftan TV News at 7.
What we found that the general tax is not actually sufficient.
National, foreign news headlines. Get balanced, accurate facts on the latest news in business, politics, entertainment, sports, and more. Live from our studios.
Many thanks for watching. And join us again at 9
Kaftan TV News.
Welcome back from that short break. First of all, I think we'll just take the story to Yahaya Bello. That's Alhaji Yahaya Bello, the former governor of Kogi State, who seems to be on the run. That's after immigration, NSCDC, and other security architecture are on the alert for him. Well, a lot is emerging. Recently, the EFCC revealed that Yahaya Bello moved as much as $720,000 from state coffers to pay child school fees. That's something no public servant should be allowed to do. But a lot of questions have also arisen from some of the stories we've heard. Why are there no structures in place? These are human beings. When they are governors, executive governors, and the powers that comes with that office, we see them feel like emperors, or feel like above the law. But how can we get structures in place to ensure that this does not go on? It seems like a circle that never has an end. When they come out of office, you now go after them. But are there structures in place when you expect that if you overstep, you are going to be culpable and you will face the law? What's the role of the state houses of assembly? Now, speaking about state houses of assembly, I would like to quickly just talk about the Kogi State House of Assembly that ordered, emphasis on the word ordered, the EFCC to remove the tag on Governor Yahaya Bello the wanted tag on Governor Yaya Bello, calling it politically motivated. And I wonder, Nigerians want dividends of democracy. We want transparency and accountability in governance. We want to enjoy social amenities. And when there is some effort, it's allegedly at the moment. However, when you see the anti-graft agencies, the law enforcement agencies try to do their best in ensuring that sanity, we also hear Nigerians fight back. And a lot of people recently have been asking, what's with this media campaign for Yaya Bello? We should allow the law take its course. If the courts, if the IGP, if everyone, the presidency also released a statement for Yaya Bello to go get a lawyer and appear in the EFCC rather, to get the investigation going. Nobody is saying that he will be judicially attacked, just like every Nigerian and other ex-governors who have also gone through this. I'm sure he will regain his freedom. Why is he so afraid? That's questions a lot of us are asking, and it doesn't seem like answers are coming anytime soon. Most annoying and ridiculous is the fact that recently I'm seeing videos emerge of, I don't know if that's skits. A lot of people have said it's not a skit. These are people who are seriously calling on the gods to protect Yaya Bello, to ensure that if EFCC is on his tail, he will not be found. I cannot for the life of me understand how Nigerians speak from both sides of the mouth. It seems like when we are fighting corruption from one end, we don't want it to be somebody we know or love, or somebody close to us, or somebody from our ethnicity or religion. So many sentiments are brought to fore. It seems like we are not really ready for it. If you've listened to several commentary on not just social media, but mainstream media, people who you would think would be very intelligent will be speaking, and you ask yourself, where is this coming from? Are we really ready to fight corruption? You hear people tell you, give you narratives like, I mean, it happened to this certain governor. It wasn't like this. Somebody even talked about the rift between the EFCC and Rochas Okorocha. We saw the whole drama where Rochas Okorocha's home had to be invaded. We saw personnel, EFCC personnel, having to come from the roof. Nigerians gave EFCC a backlash for that. I remember that very vividly. We remembered the Administration of Criminal Justice Act. We remembered several laws that really protect the citizens, and how it can be seamless. Arrests in the country can be seamless. Has the EFCC changed? Have we welcomed what the EFCC said? I also heard narratives like the EFCC should have also opened fire. The EFCC came out to release a statement. About 30 policemen were manning that house. It could have been chaotic. So I think I applaud the EFCC for not going too far in trying to prove a point that they are the ego. You know, it's also sad what transpired there. Although the Kogi State governor's office released a statement that Yaya Bello was not whisked away and is not hiding in the Kogi State house, governor's house or office, wherever that may be. It's unfortunate. The EFCC came and also alluded that during the raid, or what the standoff, or however you will want to call what happened there, what transpired, the unfortunate incident that happened there, the governor of the state, with the powers that he holds, came up and whisked away the ex-governor from that residence. Is this what we should go on facing? There was a warrant for arrest right there. What was Yaya Bello? What is Yaya Bello really afraid of? In the same vein, we also read earlier today, still speaking about the EFCC and the fight against corruption, misappropriation and fraud. The EFCC has nabbed Hadi Sirika over 8 billion naira fraud, sacked directors for interrogation, ex-ministers' brothers' account remains frozen. For those who might be following the story, let us get it straight. A lot of people just do not get it yet. The 8 billion naira fraud, in quotes, that the EFCC is going after the former aviation minister for, has nothing yet to do with the Nigerian Air saga. A lot of us remember painfully that what transpired with the Nigerian Air. We remember how much the logo itself had to be, and the fact that as it is, there's no Nigerian Air running. Sometimes when I pass through the Abuja airport and I see the massive Nigerian Air building, which could have been so productive, I shake my head. Well, that's not why the EFCC is going after Sirika yet, because right now it was found that he allocated some project or contract to his younger brother who works with the Ministry of Water Resources. In that contract, several projects that were supposed to be implemented to the tune of 8 billion naira was indeed not implemented, even though it was paid for ahead of time. You know how contracts in Nigeria often are. When you're doing legitimate contracts in Nigeria, it can be very frustrating, where you are given a certain percentage. It is not even getting that percentage is often the problem. Sometimes you see contractors having to go borrow money from banks just to, complete contract, get it to a certain stage so that they can come pursue their monies. And unfortunately, sometimes successive governments now come and you have to review it all over again. But well, to the tune of 8 billion naira, Hadi Sirika gave this to his brother. And a lot of Nigerians are asking, why are we not talking about the Nigerian Air saga? Why is the EFCC not opening that can of canker worms, that kettle of worms that I do not understand? And there's been a very serious and interesting side to this. Could it be that because the past President Buhari had leaned and given his support to Hadi Sirika at the time, if you open that we put a lot of things under our carpet in Nigeria. If you open that, it might just make our Mr. Integrity culpable. Could that be the problem? Well, so far Nigeria Air is not in the spotlight. We are hoping that they would also, in the course of exposing the 8 billion naira fraud, in the course of all of this, we are hoping that we would see some information around how Nigerian Air, that's very unfortunate saga is, and how much was appropriated, how much we can still recover. And when we look at the whole anti-graft agency's motive, one thing that makes Nigerians a bit skeptical about their actions and the way they conduct their entire operations is, it seems like the Nigerian anti-graft always goes for the plea bargain. Now let's talk about the plea bargain. The plea bargain in other parts of the country would culminate to arrest of accomplices. It's a plea bargain. You're bargaining something out of it. Instead of putting so much resources into trying to figure out what exactly happened, let us recover some funds that you must have misappropriated. Let us see who else was culpable in the operation, in whatever transpired. And it must be remarkable funds, of course. But in Nigeria, that the case is often different, where you bring up certain amounts, very, very fraction, a small fraction of what was stolen or misappropriated, or however you want to put it, that fits you. That's what often happens here. And so people do not trust the entire anti-graft agency's operations. And yes, a lot of people would also tell you that they don't get to serve jail terms in Nigeria. So now think about it. If I now misappropriate as much as 8 billion naira, and the EFCC or some anti-graft agency of government, by the way, there are a lot. There's Code of Conduct Bureau, there's ICPC, there are several. One of them now comes after me, and I have. I'm not sure who often offers. Is it the plaintiff? I'm not sure. Is it the suspect that offers? I'm not sure how it often comes. I should expect it's these anti-graft agencies that say, you know what, it is obvious you did this, so you give us what is left from the proceedings of whatever this illicit operation is, and then would ensure that you get a tap at the back of your tap at the wrists. I'm not sure how that often goes, but it is what it is. So Nigerians do not trust the plea bargain concept, the concept and how we have translated it here in the country. We do not trust it. So yes, I can understand why there's outrage as to let us see transparency in these people that you are arresting. Still talking about the EFCC. Who remembers Emefiele, the former central bank governor? Well, there is news around him right now. Emefiele printed 684.5 million naira notes with 18.9 billion naira, the EFCC is saying. Now, the ex-governor has fresh 4-count charges and will be arraigned on the 30th of April. The agency alleges that Emefiele violated the law with intent to harm public while implementing Naira swap policy. Who remembers that very rigorous, ridiculous period where Nigerians were having to buy the Naira? In fact, it was so bad that bank transactions were freezing. I think I have lost so much money. I can't even remember. I went to the bank sometime after the whole cash crunch, cash scarcity period to see if I could recover some of those funds, and the bank told me to my face that except I remember the date, time and whatever of that transaction, I cannot recover those funds. Some of us remember how we made transactions that never reverted. The other person didn't get it. There were fights even. That's how bad it was at the time. The banks got technologically overwhelmed because they did not for the life of themselves foresee this whole thing getting to that point where everybody needed an account because there was no cash. It seemed like they had pulled in cash. I'm not sure what the motive was, because if you are indeed trying to mop out old Naira notes to introduce new Naira notes, you should look at the CBN already has the data of what circulates, what circulates. The banks were restricted, human beings were restricted from holding certain amount of money, and so for those who were able to remember the period, we were hailing the POS people. Anyway, according to the EFCC, 18.9 billion naira was used to print 684.5 million naira. That does not make any sense. This is the most ridiculous thing I have ever heard. That you needed 18.9 billion. Please, people, I hope you're getting it right. 18.9 billion naira to print just 600, not even a billion naira, 684.5 million naira. How does that make sense? Was it necessary at the time? What was the rationale behind this? People died. There were people who unfortunately were in the kidnappers' den at the time and could not get access to cash. That's how bad it was, and they lost their loved ones. There were reports at the time. People could not move around. The productivity that we're talking about, and so sometimes when I hear the Tinubu loyalists tell you how all we are facing culminated from the past administration, it's just trickles of a lot of things that had happened, I don't seem to blame them much, because I remember at the time that the president himself also talked about the cash crunch and the artificial fuel scarcity that was being caused, according to him, just to sabotage him. But that story for another day, especially because they were both of the APC, so I'm not sure why anybody would want to sabotage their presidential candidate at the time. But that story for another day, because for some of you watching me right now will now remember that call for the former president Buhari to come and support your president. I remember that call. If you indeed have endorsed him and agree that he should be the flag bearer of your political party, be seen endorsing him, be seen in campaigns like anybody would expect a president who is supporting the flag bearer of his party. But going back to Emefiele, we are seeing so much is being revealed. I don't know how you feel hearing about 684.5 million naira. Just 684.5 million naira notes were printed, and it costs Nigeria 18.9 billion naira. Just imagine, it was unnecessary. How many times have you gotten a hold of the new naira note? I mean, I don't think I've held that note in weeks. So it was an unnecessary policy. It was rushed. That's for sure. It was indeed rushed. So that's another unfortunate incident that Nigerians will probably not forget in a hurry. Emefiele now has 4 new fresh charges. Well, finally, before we leave this segment, we'll just talk about Abuja British School bullying that has sparked public outrage. And this is something that that has been happening. It's not surprising necessarily for me that young people have become such bullies. It's not particularly surprising for me because we have been recording it. It didn't get this much outcry, maybe because it's in a setting in a school that's so expensive, by the way. Only certain individuals will be able to send their children to that school. Maybe Nigerians just expected that there would be sanity. It will not get that bad. Maybe that is the reason why it's sparking this much outrage, but something just has to be done. Our parents, you know, those children that are bullies, you know them, they have shown it. It's characterized like pregnancy, like the African proverb will go. However, you know your child. Very often this is because of what's happening. Are you seeing a narcissist in the house, like psychologists have said? So we need to be very careful with our children. We need to educate them better, train them better, so that they know better. There is no way a child coming from a healthy home would find it so comfortable to be slapping another child around. I mean, we saw that, and it's quite unfortunate what's going on there. And that girl just took it. That's the one that I could not understand. That made me really sad. The natural instinct of survival instinct of man and animal, plants even, is to fight back. That she didn't even try. What still was that it wasn't just that girl that I apologized. I don't think it wasn't just her. This was happening in the entire, with the glare of several other students. Nobody said anything but for the person who videoed, and the person who videoed, I'm not sure if it was for personal gratification or was videoing so to raise alarm. I'm not sure what happened. Unfortunately, that wasn't even the only video. We have seen another one emerge, and I was told earlier that there's yet another one that emerged. But that's another unfortunate one, if this is a trend that's happening in that school. So yes, so much has to be done. I had a conversation with a teacher earlier who said, we cannot say that we don't hear these complaints. Sometimes the students come and complain, but what much can you do? We no longer have corporal punishment. While I am very undecided as to corporal punishment, because indeed we have seen teachers take it a notch too far, maybe way too far. Notch is being too kind. We've seen teachers take it way too far. We've seen students recorded to have passed away. We've seen very, very, very unfortunate marks. You would see cane marks on a child, whip marks rather, on a child's back, because you want to. I'm sure we can get a balance. But I hope that, I mean, we saw the Minister of Women Affairs march into the school. The school has been closed for a couple of days, I think, just to ensure that they can investigate this and come back better, like the school promised, come back better and have that conversation with their students. I don't know. We've gotten an apology. Nigerians have gotten an apology from that child who said she didn't know if she could take it back, she would, and all of that. But that is the typical narcissist, you know. If I can take it back, I will. You could have not just made it happen in the first place. It's an unfortunate turn of events that young people are actually being bullied, and it's both unhealthy. It's unhealthy for the predator and the prey, so to speak, because the truth is that for somebody to take that kind of abuse, there's a huge level of something not right. Like I said, the natural instinct is to fight back. And if you do not fight back, it's something to check as well. Why were you taking it? Why were you not screaming? Why were you not asking for help? Why were you not why are you not kicking? Why are you not talking back? Why are you taking it? It happened, I mean, the video showed twice. I don't know how many times that the abuse happened, but why? You didn't was there a report before that video was released? Did you report this? Why are you not out there? That's something. And then the child who thinks it's okay, it's not just one, there were several who sat there and thought it was okay. These things happened. Some of us also saw these things happen in our schools, but because, you know, there were certain children who were just susceptible and prone to such abuses. So parents, try to be closer to your children. You don't know if your child is being bullied. You don't know if your child is the bully. But whatever the case may be, do your best to know your child better. Hear their stories. What are they telling you? Sometimes they come home in prowess, in excitement of the prowess they have shown over their colleagues. That should be a red flag. And if that is, I'm not sure what works for your child, but do what it is that will ensure that that child is not a bully or is being bullied. I'll go for a short break and return to continue this conversation. Remember that at some point in the program, we'll be talking about the concept of EduVenture. We'll be back after this.
Yes, there is news on your device, but hearing an analyst's perspective is the icing on the cake that Daybreak Africa provides. Break. I mean, start your day with prompt analysis of the latest news, trends,
and then you see these people, they're so agile, they can
politics.
We have to go back to that regional system. That is the foundation of this country, for God's sake.
Entertainment, fashion, culinary skills,
So first I'm going to be pouring the oil inside the pot and
religious and cultural events, amongst others, on Daybreak Africa. For a rich mix of analysis on current issues, tune in daily from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on channel 480 and 124 on Star Times.
While wrapping up the day, unwind with the reminiscence of the day's news from home and abroad with Kaftan TV 7 p.m. News.
Good to have you join us on Kaftan News at 7.
Nigeria are living in Africa. 5% are young people. We broadcast the Harmony Symphony.
It's good to have you join us on Kaftan TV News at 7.
We found that the turnaround are not actually sufficient.
National foreign news headlines. Get balanced, accurate facts on the latest news in business, politics, entertainment, sports, and more. Live from our studios.
Many thanks for watching and join us again at 9
Kaftan
p.m.
TV News.
Yes, there is news on your device, but hearing an analyst's perspective is the icing on the cake that Daybreak Africa provides. Break. I mean, start your day with prompt analysis of the latest news, trends,
Exactly, and then you see these people, they're so agile, they can do it.
politics,
We have to go back to that regional system. That is the foundation of this country, for God's sake.
entertainment, fashion, culinary skills,
So first, I'm going to be pouring the oil inside because I will.
religious and cultural events, amongst others, on Daybreak Africa. For a rich mix of analysis and current issues, tune in daily from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on channel 480 and 124 on Star Times.
Welcome back from that. It's wonderful to know you're still here. We've been looking at stories that made front page this today, and a lot of reactions have been following those stories. However, one that I just want us to address right now is the fact that there's fluctuation around the dollar. There seems to be an attack. I don't know how the government is pointing at a lot of cryptocurrency companies as some of those who have been culpable in where our dollar has been. I don't know what your thoughts are. I wish we could have that conversation, but subsequently on the program we'll be opening phone lines so that we get to hear you and hear what your thoughts are in this newfound enemy of the naira. Right now the the naira rather has been fluctuating. Unfortunately, after we had gotten it to almost, I think, less than a thousand naira recently, or rather the CBN was selling to BDCs at 980 naira. After we got to that benchmark, it was reported earlier that it had gone even higher than that. But there's some good news. Dangote Petroleum Refinery recently, that's yesterday really, on Tuesday, announced a further reduction in the prices of both diesel and aviation fuel to 940 naira and 980 naira per litre respectively. This is coming in the wake of its widely celebrated price reduction to 1,000 naira earlier. Barely 2 weeks ago. A lot of people have been asking, where can we get this 940 naira reduction or Dangote prices? Because if you go to our fuel stations to still get diesel, a lot of people are buying it above 1,000 naira. The price change of 940 naira applies to customers buying 5 million liters and above from refineries, while the price of 970 though for customers buying 1 million liters and above. So now you get your answers. If you're buying as much as that from the refinery, you buy as low as 940 naira. Well, speaking to the new development, the head of communication was talking about is, he says, and I quote, really, I can confirm to you that Dangote Petroleum Refinery has entered a strategic partnership with MRS oil and gas stations to ensure that consumers get to buy fuel at affordable prices in all stations, be it Lagos or Maiduguri. You can buy as low as 1 liter of diesel at 1,050 naira, but people are buying for way less. So what's happening? Are they not producing enough? Well, that's one more question. And while the dollar is going lower, we have not seen that much appreciable reflection in our market. That's another question Nigerians are asking. Why is inflation is getting higher and we're not seeing that? I know recently we had that conversation here on the program. But well, we'll go for another short break. When we return, it's time to discuss EduVenture. Like I promised, we're going to be discussing EduVenture. We'll get to know about the concept of it all and get to understand. It will be a series here on Joy Asoye Live. We'll be right back after this.
While wrapping up the day, unwind with the reminiscence of the day's news from home and abroad with Kaftan TV 7 p.m. news.
Good to have you join us on Kaftan News at 7.
Nigerians are living in abject 5%. Are young people we purpose the harmony symphony.
It's good to have you join us on Kaftan TV News at 7.
We found that the 10 naira card is not actually sufficient.
National foreign news headlines. Get balanced, accurate facts on the latest news in business, politics, entertainment, sports, and more. Live from our studios.
Many thanks for watching. And join us again at 9
Kaftan
p.m.
TV News. While wrapping up the day, unwind.
For a lot of people who are not aware of that concept of EduVenture, I mean, some of us are just getting and stumbling on that for the first time as well. Well, we are getting into that. Like I promised earlier on the show, we'll be talking about who needs it, what is it about, how can you benefit from this knowledge. To discuss all of this in the studio is Dr. James Komolafe himself, the Chief Consultant, SAPA Resources Intervention Hub. Thank you so much for being part of the program.
Wow, great to be here, Joy, and great to be out here on Kaftan TV to discuss EduVenture.
EduVenture. A lot of people, I mean, I wet a lot of people's mouths earlier talking about this concept that you are going to come introduce to all of us right now. But
yes,
what does this concept entail?
EduVenture is an amalgam of two words: education, which everybody know about, School of Education, Faculty of Education, Ministry of Education, or I'm a consultant, I do education and all of that, and we'll keep talking and learning and talking and learning. Our problems and challenges keep expanding and enlarging by the day in spite of our talk. So talk one, then how do you intervene given what you have talked? Your talk is to describe a situation, whether good, bad, or ugly. That's a situation, you're talking about it, a people, a culture, a society, a government, a family, an organization. What is it? What is the situation on ground? That is education. Well, you have to leverage what is known to look for what is
not known.
Not known, that you want to be known and to be seen applicable by way of critical intervention and providing the solution. So when you have education on one hand and intervention on the other hand, you have EduVenture. And from EduVenture, when you have EduVenture, you can venture out into the real productive segment of it. So we're saying whatever you know can become productive for you, whether the good, the bad, or the ugly, at family level, individual level, institutional level, and even governance. So all you need to do is for us to use our 3E model of EduVenture to explore what is it there, and then we express what is being seen in order to establish it. So that is
I think you have to say that slowly now. You have to explore, express.
You explore, you dig into it, and bring out what is seen in EduVenture. And then from there, you now establish what you want to see so that you can identify your GLV. And what is your GLV? The gaps, the loopholes, and the vacuums.
The gaps, the loopholes, aren't they all the same
thing? And it is from there you find venture that is needed, necessary, and sufficient to block a gap. So gap exists where you have an intention that is not meeting expectation. The gap is actually the gap. So you have a void there. Vacuum exists where a gap goes ahead first.
Okay.
When you have a gap, of course, whatever you store in yourself has a point to leak out and leave you in a vacuum. So you are heavy before you just discover that you are depleted. And how about loophole? Loophole is any leakage at all that comes your way in the way of lifestyle and in the way of productive essence. So Eduvention says identify the gaps. Where are you now? Where do you intend to be?
Right.
That you are not. Eduventure will block. We identify it and block it for you. Eduvention says it's not enough about knowing. You can also turn that knowledge to an applicable intervention that gives you resources. So joy, you are actually supposed to benefit from your fear and to get paid by your fear because it's a situation. Eduvention says
by your fear
you can earn wages and salaries from your fear because it's a situation. Eduvention says don't just know about it and say, well, one day is one day. Because the opposite of light is darkness. If you have it, you've had it rough for a terrain and you don't know what to do, just switch and then you have the light. And the darkest of the night will always precede the breaking of a new day. So Eduvention says you can route it and you can release the inherent resources in those issues and then turn it to a productive essence that creates value. So Eduvention is actually meant for 4 groups of people.
That was going to go there.
You say APCT.
Okay, APCT.
Yes, people who aspire. You have a dream, you have a vision, you have something that keeps being in the pipeline and on the drawing board. And you are saying one day is one day. No, Eduvention says don't wait for one day is one day. Plunge into that personality, pull him out by behavioral invasion and express him. When you express him, you show him the good, the bad and the ugly, then you can tweak and work him out to be his best version. That is Eduvention for you. And then that is A, people who aspire. So what is your dream out there? No matter how big and how small, it is achievable. And you see, big dreams, joy, starts from small. Small article, small evidence, small identity from your inside. So that's the A. Then P factor of Eduvention, people who needs Eduvention, is people who perspire. You are sweating over something, finding a means around it, and people keep encouraging you. Consultant and coaches say you can make it. Motivational speakers are also encouraging you, and you keep perspiring and sweating. Eduvention says no, check through. Look at the components.
Exactly.
Where is the missing link? What is he supposed to do that he is not doing? Because joy, 1 + 1 today is 2, and in 10 million years to come it will still remain 2. So Eduvention says no, profile the situation on ground and see this man perspiring. What is going to be the end result? Is this perspiration just a means to an end or an end in itself, so that you don't wait in vain? That is the P. And then the C component are people making contribution. You don't really have a problem, so you are doing well and you are doing fine, but you feel this is the time to take it to the next level.
Right.
So you are out for maximum contribution. You want to reach optimality in your organization, in your visions and in your dream. And you see, in the society where everybody is blind, one man is king. So we're saying, although you are king in this arena, but you can take it to the next level, so that you can become globally scalable, globally predictable, globally reliable, and your concept can win anywhere, and you gain public prominence and relevance at the same time. That is the C factor. And then the T factor are people who are just needing transformation. You've been doing the same thing the same way all of the time, and you want to expect a different result. People call it insanity. So we say no, for you not to be insane, even while making profits and widening your margin, there is the need for you to look at what is happening, look at your books, look at your brand, look at your behavior, and look at your belief system, and draw a harmony that raises your level from the current state to the next level, even when it is not attainable anywhere. Eduventure says we can see what is on ground to take you to the skies, so that the skies becomes the stepping stone, not your limit. So you want to transform who you are, your personal lifestyle, what you hold for brand and belief. Eduvention says, please go into this person,
right?
Find that, go into this organization, and we are doing that across board. That is why, George, we're starting this program on Eduvention by letting the people know out there that no matter where you are, Eduvention can capture you, restructure you, rework you without reinventing the wheel, and then you can see your gaps, your loophole, and the vacuum. All you need to ask for is to say, Dr. Komolafe, please send me for free strategic intervention assessment therapy.
You say it gradually for some of us who struggle with grammar.
Okay.
Strategic intervention
assessment therapy. Just a sheet of paper that explain all of this, and then show us where you need to take the game further in life, and that is Eduvention.
So with that assessment, you can already tell that this is the loopholes for this person.
It will show us the loophole,
the gaps,
and the vacuum. It will show us your strength, your weaknesses, and your opportunities. It will show us your smart analysis, your specific issues, the measurable issues, the articulate issues, the time boundliness of it, so that when we put all of these things together and juggle it together, it becomes a venture. So you have the education,
you have the
production on the other side. When these two merges together, it gives you Eduventure. And when you venture out, you are creating relevance.
So would you then say that everybody does need this assessment?
Every human being, the good, the bad, and the ugly, you are doing well, you are not doing well. People across all demography, just ask for it. Strategic intervention assessment therapy.
Strategic intervention assessment therapy.
And you can reach me on my WhatsApp number 080 35 999 220, or just go to my YouTube channel, James Komolafe, and hear a 2 minutes video or so on Eduventure, so that you can download the form yourself from a Google link, and then let's profile you by doing the 3 E's. Exploration, expression, and then establishment. We dig out the gold mine in your inside, and then profile you and bring out your best version, irrespective of your circumstances. And in closing, you see, Eduvention series identify with the situation on ground, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and then reconcile it with the solutions at hand through strategy. So it's actually a 3S principle: situation on ground, meeting with the solution at hand, and the link point and the bridge is called strategy. So when you have situation on ground and solution at hand, and you marry them both, that is Eduventure. And what marries them is strategy. That is why you need the strategic intervention assessment therapy to be able to do
intervention
this.
Assessment
and then you get
therapy.
it. So just send the message. You are not in Nigeria. +234 8035 999 220.
Say it again, please, and this time maybe gently for those who might be
Eduvention is deep. You don't do Eduvention, sorry, the venture aspect will not come out of it. You keep wishing and talking to yourself, one day I'll be this, I'll be that. No, you have to hit the ground running with deliberate creation, which we'll talk about next time.
Exactly.
Because Eduvention says, don't look at what you don't have, but look at what you do have, and from it cast it where it is needed and necessary and get the result out of it. So the number again, +234 80 35 999 220.
Okay.
Just mention my name and then watch my video on Eduvention on my YouTube channel, James Komolafe. Subscribe for free. Watch my local, national, and international programs and all of that, and be eduventionally compliant and not complicit.
And then we see the resources come flowing.
It flows to you. You are so deep and huge, loaded and coded in your inside, but you need an eduvention therapist,
right,
who will help you prospect, profile, project in order to produce your best version in your organization, in your family, and in all that you do. And don't think where you are is just good enough.
Dr. James Komolafe, we really have run out of time. Eduvention
is the 21st century marriage,
right?
Need to do.
Thank you so much, Dr. James Komolafe, Chief Consultant, Safa Resources Intervention Hub. Thank you for giving us this eduvention. We'll be subsequently exploring more about eduvention for people who might be wondering. So this is where we draw the curtains on Joy Asanya Live, the eduvention episode. We'll be back tomorrow with so much more. Do have a restful evening.